Hello and welcome to News Round, a recap of stories in the week. I'm Tenyola Shoboale. The headlines. One person killed, 41 people, including students, staff and family members, abducted from the Government Science College, Kagara in Niger State. Attackers said to be dressed in military uniform. Senate asks President Buhari to declare a state of emergency on insecurity in the country following the Kagara school abduction. Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala makes history as first female and first African to head the World Trade Organization. And South Africa starts COVID-19 vaccinations using the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. News Round takes off with what can now be described as a common occurrence in Nigeria, abduction in schools. This time, the latest school hit is the Government Science College, Kagara in Niger State, where 41 people, including students, staff and their family members, are victims, and sadly, one student died in the attack. The assailants, said to be dressed in military uniform, gained access into the school in the early hours of Wednesday, February the 17th.
It was a rude awakening for students, members of staff and residents of the Government Science College, Kagara in Niger State, as they make frantic efforts at getting away as far as possible. At about 2 a.m., an armed group of people clad in military fatigue invaded the hostels and residents, breaking down doors, kidnapping anyone in sight. The school principal, who also escaped from the gunmen, gives his account.
When they forced the door to open, before I even come and now forced into my bedroom and arrested me. There and then they now called me, bring me outside, that we should go to hostel direct. So they put me in front to the hostel, student hostel. So reaching there, they started arresting the student. When the student discovered that they are thief, because when they went there, they were telling the student not to run. It is soldier. More confirm me, I saw the person that came to my house in a black soldier uniform. The other one with the uniform of Nigerian army. The two of them. The other one wear black coat. There are 3 numbers that came here. So when after when we were there, they gathered most of the students. While some of the students started running into the bush. The little one they caught, which I cannot ascertain the number. We were there standing out, gather us together and start touching us 2-2. So when they started touching us 2-2, there and then already my family have already been arrested.
Some of the students who luckily escaped from the attack are not happy at the slow response of security agencies.
They started chasing students out in the hostel and they followed them. And they were also shooting to the point that they killed one person. They shot him in the head. And they packed some people from the hostel and kidnapped them. They are still nowhere to be found till now.
Seriously, let government take action of this issue, because all the education has turned upside down. We students now, we are not happy with what just happened.
With the figure released by the state government, more efforts may now be required to hasten the rescue of the students and other people kidnapped from the school.
Well, still on the Kagara abduction, the Inspector General of Police has once again assured citizens that the force is committed to the safe return of all the abductees. To ensure results, the police say they have deployed special forces, including the Operation Puff Adder 2, for the task.
A day after the Kagara school attack, the whereabouts of 27 students, 5 members of staff and 9 others abducted by persons suspected to be bandits is still unknown. On Wednesday, February 17, 2021, when Governor Abubakar Bello of Niger State visited the school, he promised to push for the release of those abducted. The police authorities are marching on with action. as these men and officers drawn from special units of the force are deployed to Kagara and other communities where bandits have been operating. The State Commissioner of Police says it is time to take the word to the camp of the enemies and ensure they have no space to operate.
What we are now trying to do is to reinforce. That's why we are using this special deployment to assist in ensuring that we rescue the victim. Everything is being properly handled. So we have deployment around that axis, so we know what is happening and we are monitoring.
But while the police is going for the enemies, the state government is also prioritizing the release of students abducted from the government science secondary school and 21 persons previously abducted from a government-owned bus on Sunday along Minazungeri Road released unhurt.
The security forces, they are already working, they are gathering all the information that will lead to their rescue. So we are hoping within short possible time, by special grace of God, the people that were kidnapped will be rescued unarmed.
It is not only the security agents that are saddled with the task of ensuring the safe return of the abducted persons. The State Child's Rights Agency says it supports steps being taken to bring them back.
We're also fully behind the state government and what the governor has said. We intend to also pursue it also at the federal level to ensure that President does not forget this issue based on other issues that keep coming up.
With a special police operation ready to take on the enemies, the question agitating the minds of residents here, particularly families of those abducted in Kagara and on the NSTA bus, is how soon will they regain their freedom? Empress Simon, Channels Television News.
Declare a state of emergency on security in the country. That's the resolution coming from the Senate to the executive arm of government. The resolution follows a motion by Senator Sani Musa on the abduction of students from the Government Science College, Kagara, Niger State.
April 14, 2014. Boko Haram terrorists abduct more than 200 schoolgirls from Government Secondary School, Chibok, Borno State. February 19, 2018, Boko Haram terrorists kidnapped 110 schoolgirls from the Government Girls Science and Technical College, Dapchi, Yobe State. December 11, 2020, more than 300 schoolboys kidnapped in Kankara, Kastina State. Wednesday's abduction of students from the Government Science College, Kagara, Niger State, is a painful reminder of the dismal state of insecurity in the country and the penchant of terrorist and criminal gangs to target schools in the northern part of the country. During Wednesday's plenary session, the three senators representing Niger State vent their frustration at the abduction of the students and state of unrest in their constituencies.
Concerned that, like the other incidents of school children abduction that took place in Chibok and Dapchi several years back, if no immediate action is taken to rescue Kagara school students, their fate may be sealed in the hands of terrorists.
Can we rightly say that this government, I am sorry to say, that this government is incompetent in handling the security challenges in this country? Because this issue has been discussed here over and over, and there is no improvement. It is even getting worse. Are we going to amend the Nigerian Constitution to give more powers to the governors who are the chief security officers of their various states? Because our government at the center is showing incompetence in handling security challenges.
It appears very obviously that the success these kidnappers and bandits got emboldened them to go into this particular school.
The Senate makes some recommendations.
Urge the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Muhammadu Buhari GCFR, to, as a matter of urgency, declare a state of emergency on insecurity in Nigeria. Those in favor of prior to say aye. Those against any die.
Meanwhile, Zamfara State federal lawmakers are asking the federal government to offer amnesty to the repentant bandits in the northwest. They are making this request during a briefing with journalists in the National Assembly.
It is our belief that the federal government should offer amnesty to those repentant bandits in the northwestern region, because we are convinced that these repentant bandits will be encouraged to contribute positively to society.
The caucus is calling on other states in the Northwest, regardless of party affiliation, to confront banditry using the model of the Zamfara state government, which includes granting amnesty to repentant bandits and the establishment of rural grazing area in the state. Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
Away from the Senate to the Lagos State Judicial Panel on Restitution for victims of SARS-related abuses and other matters where 2 victims have been awarded 10 million naira each. The petitioners compensated Adebayo Abayomi, whose mother, Kudirat Abayomi, was killed by a stray bullet in April 2017, and 35-year-old hairdresser Anna Olugodi, who suffers a disability as a result of misuse of firearms by officers of the Nigerian police force. It's almost 4 months since the Lagos State government constituted a 9-man judicial panel of inquiry and restitution to investigate cases of alleged police brutality in the state, especially during the EndSARS protests. On Friday, 2 petitioners, Kudirat Abayomi and Anna Olugodi, have finally been awarded monetary compensations by the panel. In the petition involving late Mrs. Kudirat Adebayo Abayomi, who was said to be killed by a stray bullet by SARS officers in April 2017, the panel recommended the persecution of the erring police officers, with 10 million naira awarded to her family as compensation. In addition to this, there will be scholarships for her children, while the police have also been directed to issue a letter of apology to the family.
The panel finds that the late Mrs. Kudirat Adebayo was extrajudicially killed by an officer of the Nigerian police, which is a clear infringement of her right to life, as guaranteed by Section 33, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. The panel finds evidence of systemic error and ineptitude on the part of officers of the Nigerian police in handling and exchange of firearms.
We can never bring back my mom, but at least it's still something. But it lets us to believe in the system, in the panel, and this is to also rekindle the lost hope. Because after I diminish, I know what I face, I know what the family are facing.
The second petitioner is Anna Olugodi, a 35-year-old hairdresser who was also hit in her leg by a stray bullet fired by SARS officers in 2018. For this, she was admitted at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital for 6 months, after which she ended up walking with the aid of crutches. She was also awarded the sum of 10 million naira.
The panel finds as follows. 1, that the petitioner was shot by officers of the Nigerian police force without any justification in law. 2, the gunshot led to previous bodily harm inflicted on the petitioner. Family of the petitioner have been driven to penury in a bid to pursue the recommended treatment for the petitioner. 4, there is no evidence that the petitioner received any support from the Nigerian police or government.
We had come here with the hope that we were going to get something substantial. We asked for a certain figure, we got far lesser than we got, but at least we are in a position to say, well, taking stock of all that's happened, we can, thank God and thank the panel for at least giving a case a good consideration.
Since the panel started hearing cases last year, the decision to award compensations to Kudirat Abayomi as well as Anna Olugodi appears to be its first major move to assuage the pains of victims that submitted petitions. When News Round returns in just a moment, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala makes history as first female and first African to head the World Trade Organization. More details in a moment. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. And now to the World Trade Organization, where Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala has made history as she becomes the first female and first African to head the institution. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala's appointment comes after members of the General Council of the WTO met and agreed by consensus to select her to lead the 164-member trade organization from March the 1st, 2021 to August the 31st, 2025. In a statement released after the meeting, the chair of the General Council, David Walker, described the moment as very significant for the WTO and congratulated Dr. Okonjo-Iweala on her appointment while formally welcoming her to the General Council meeting. He adds, Dr. Ngozi, on behalf of all members, I wish to sincerely thank you for your graciousness in these exceptional months and for your patience. We look forward to collaborating closely with you, Dr. Ngozi, and I am certain that all members will work with you constructively during your tenure as Director General to shape the future of this organization. The process for selecting a new leader for the WTO was triggered on May the 14th when former Director General Mr. Roberto Azevedo informed members that he would be stepping down from his post 1 year before the end of his tenure. He subsequently left office on the 31st of August 2020. Meanwhile, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala in her acceptance speech emphasized that change in leadership in the WTO would open the organization to much-needed reforms.
It has been a long and tough road, full of uncertainty, but now it's the dawn of a new day and the real work can begin. Today, WTO members are making history. For the first time in the 73 years of GATT and WTO, you are selecting a woman and an African as Director General. This is groundbreaking and positive. I'm grateful for the trust you have in me, not just as a woman and an African, but also in my knowledge, experience, and as some of you have said, courage and passion to work with you to undertake the wide-ranging reforms the WTO needs to reposition itself for the future. The challenges facing the WTO are numerous and tricky, but they are not insurmountable. There is hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel if we work together in a transparent manner that builds trust, builds bridges, diffuses political tensions, and encourages convergence. The pandemic and its economic fallout have highlighted the interdependence of countries, the importance of multilateralism, and the need to strengthen collaboration to achieve fair and balanced trade agreements that provide opportunities for all WTO members, particularly for the least developed countries and small island states.
This week, President Muhammadu Buhari did write the Senate seeking confirmation of Mr. Abdurrashid Bawa as substantive chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. According to the letter, President Buhari says his request is in accordance with paragraph 2, subsection 3 of part 1, CAP E1 of EFCC Act 2004. Mr. Bawa holds a BSc degree in economics and masters in international affairs and diplomacy and is one of the pioneer EFCC cadet officers in 2005. In response, President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, after reading the letter, announced they will screen the nominee for the position of EFCC chairman, Mr. Abdurrashid Bawa, before lawmakers at plenary. News Round winds down in South Africa, where the much-anticipated rollout of the COVID-19 vaccine has begun using the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. President Cyril Ramaphosa led the first batch of people to be vaccinated using the single-dose vaccine.
After the AstraZeneca setback, the Johnson & Johnson vaccines arrived late on Tuesday from Brussels and were immediately distributed to 32 vaccination sites across the country. President Cyril Ramaphosa, who is attending a parliamentary debate in Cape Town, was almost the first to take a jab at the Kailija District Hospital.
And I was rather pleased that there were 5 people who were vaccinated before me, and they are health workers, and it was a joy to watch them to see whether anything had happened to them, and gladly nothing had happened to them. And it means that being vaccinated is a fairly straightforward process. And I'd like to invite South Africans to take this up so that we can all be safe, we can all be healthy. And I'd like to say to all the doomsayers who've been, preaching that there's going to be total mayhem and disaster, I think let's all have hope and faith in our system, in our health workers, and let's give them an opportunity to do what they do best, because they know how these vaccination processes are going to unfold.
Health Minister Dr. Zwelin Kize, who also got vaccinated in Cape Town, commended health workers whom he said have been going through a grueling battle. He outlined what is being done and what will be coming afterwards.
We have today distributed throughout the whole country 80,000 doses of our vaccine, and this 80,000 is spread to over 32 sites throughout the country, and those sites are largely the sites which are Medical Research Council sites combined with those of the health department who are managing the rest of the program. We're expecting between now and the end of about 4 weeks, we should at least be able to reach about 500,000 doses that we should be able to receive. And in that process, they will be coming in waves, and week by week, we should be getting additional doses. And out of that process, we will actually be vaccinating at the same time running an implementation study.
South Africa's goal is to vaccinate at least 40 million people in the country, which make up about 67% of the population, to attain a measure of herd immunity. Currently, the second COVID-19 surge has abated, but the scientists expect a third or even a fourth. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
And that's News Round this week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Teniola Shobowale. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.